Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining our Connected Educator webinar series tonight. We're so excited that you could be here with us. We're going to focus today on developing our personal learning network, our PLN, with Nancy Karamenko and Barb Gilman. I'm thankful that they're here today. So as with most of our webinars, I hope you can see my screen now. There we go. As with most of our webinars, we'll start ourselves off in a moment with prayer and talk a little bit about archive info and our introductions before we jump into our presentations today. So with that, together, let us put our minds and hearts in the presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, grant us the strength that we have the courage to face every situation in our school communities with your strength. Grant us your love so we will never give up on our students and our fellow teachers. Grant us your wisdom so we can help our colleagues and students on the path to success. Grant us your peace so that we can find the best in everyone in our school. And grant us your grace so that we are always reminded of your presence with us. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Newman, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. A few little pieces of housekeeping before our presentation tonight. Know that this archive will be on our YouTube channel. That's AOP Tech on YouTube. If you would like, you can submit questions through the chat window. On the side panel there, if you're on an iPad or a Chromebook, you might not see those, but you can tweet us your questions at AOP Tech if you follow us on Twitter or using the hashtag AOP Tech. Also, you'll receive an email from the GoToWebinar platform in about 24 hours with the resources from tonight and an archive link as well. And we encourage you to share those and utilize them in your school communities. So this is Alyssa. I'm here tonight. Aaron is along here with me. We're sending our congratulations to the Brannick family for their new little one joining the Brannick family this week. So Aaron and I will be here as per usual to take your questions in the chat window.
I just put an announcement out on the chat window. Just a reminder, any questions that are typed in the chat window will not be archived. And if you do ask a question, we will contact you and just ask if we just use your first name only. Any questions when we open up the mic that are spoken, those will be archived.
Thank you for that reminder, Aaron. Great to let everyone know that as well, especially since we're on YouTube now. So now I'm so excited to introduce our presenters tonight. First, Barb teaches third grade at St. Margaret Mary School in Omaha, Nebraska, and is joining us from a different time zone today. So it's awesome that she made time here for us in our archdiocese. And along with Nancy and a few others, started Catholic Ed Chat on Twitter, and I had the pleasure of meeting and seeing Nancy and Barb talk about this at NCEA, so you are in wonderful hands today. And this past fall as well, Barb was featured on the cover of today's Catholic Teacher, which is so cool.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited. A favorite topic of Nancy and mine.
Wonderful. And Nancy is familiar to us here in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, joining us for many different ways as a teacher, tech coordinator, technology director, and helping to implement a lot of the technology that we currently have in our schools. It's a big part. Nancy was a big part of that. And again, also a founder of Catholic Ed Chat in there as well, and playing the digital content manager role for the World Meeting of Families. And we all know what a success and what a blessing that was for our community here. So thank you, Nancy, for being here as well.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
So now, Nancy, I'm going to kick the screen over to you, and you can take it away.
Okay.
And I see your
Okay.
screen, so we're doing good.
Can you see just one slide, or can you see, let me see if I can get in
Yeah, I see
presentation.
the slides on the side. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you for having me. I'm very, very excited. I'm happy to be able to be here um, with all of you and just share our journey. It's been a great pleasure and honor to work with all of the Catholic schools and to connect with other Catholic school teachers really around the world through our PLNs.
Nancy, I don't want
I
to interrupt you, but we can't see your screen anymore.
No?
No.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No, you know what? I'll flip the presenter back to me and back to you. Sorry to those who are here. We work. Oh, there you go. Now I see you.
Can you see it now?
I
You
can.
know, I think you lost it when I went full screen, so if it's okay if I leave it not full screen, then
That's
maybe
perfectly fine. We're all
okay.
teachers. We're all flexible and resourceful here.
We know that's right. So I'm very, very happy to be here. So, I mean, I got on Twitter in 2008, and it was actually through a workshop that we had at the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Um, and really just has been one of my go-to tools for connecting and learning each and every day. But more importantly, something that I use all of the time to connect to other educators and to grow my own professional learning network. I've been working with the Catholic schools in this area for over 20 years. I've worked at several of the schools in Delaware County, and then I had the honor of working with teachers and Catholic school leaders across the diocese as director of K-12 technology. And what a wonderful diocesan group of schools we have. They're just amazing people to work with. One of the first people I connected with when I got onto Twitter was Barb in Nebraska.
That is
And
me.
so in 2008, you know, we got online, as I said, we connected via a workshop that we had at the diocese. And I waited a couple weeks before I got active on it. You know, one day, my husband was home. He had had surgery, so I was home that day, and I thought, well, I'm really going to get online and get to know this Twitter thing a little bit better. And one of the first people that I saw online with Catholic school teacher in their Twitter profile was Barb in Nebraska. So I followed her, and I was happy to see that there were other Catholic schools people that were as interested in new technology and as interested in Catholic schools as I was. So I followed Barb online, and we began to share ideas and support each other with our various projects, and have connected ever since.
That is true. And I started on May 1st, 2007. So I was a year before you, but I followed Catholics at first, and then I started realizing that teachers were on Twitter.
Isn't that great? I know
Yeah.
it's so exciting. We always, you know, we think about, you know, our Catholic faith, and I love to share this quote from Pope Francis, and he said, "The internet in particular offers us immense possibilities for encounter and solidarity, and it's truly good, and it's a gift from God." And I think that's a really nice thing to remember as we use these new technologies, because sometimes they're a challenge to us, but they really are a great gift. And in other communiques, Pope Francis has encouraged the uses of, specifically of social media, and has said that it's an opportunity for us really to build positive relationships and to connect with other people who may really need it and can grow from it. So I find that as a great inspiration. It's always nice to share what 60 seconds happens in social media. It's really amazing when we think about it. When I think back to 2008, and I realized how social media and web development at that time was many ways still in its early stages compared to what we see now. And who knows what it's going to be. Talk about growth. I mean, it's going to just continue to grow. But when you think about some of the numbers that you see on the screen there, 694 rides in Uber in a minute, 2.4 million searches on Google, and I think most of those are mine. And 277,000 tweets in a minute. So it's just things are happening so rapidly, and there's all of this opportunity to learn and to grow and also to connect with other people. And it's kind of astounding when you see it all in one place like that. And you know, a professional learning network is just such a perfect fit with the idea of a growth mindset, because with a growth mindset you have a love of learning, figuring out new skills and abilities, maybe celebrating the growth and success of others. And these are certainly things that you can do with a professional learning network. And what wonderful things they are also to model to our students, so that they see how you as teachers, how you as administrators have a growth mindset. You can connect and learn with others and always look for new challenges and new ways to grow. So as we make these connections online, and I know Barb would say so too, we really get used to making those connections. It becomes like almost like a second nature. We get used to doing that. And when
Well, Nancy, I'm going to have to interrupt you and say that just today I made a new friend. Erin from your diocese is now my new Twitter friend.
There you go. How about that? Well, you know, it doesn't, you know, you can connect with people easily, you know, and you can find new opportunities that way, create new solutions, and together solve problems. So, you know, and what a great thing really to model to our students. Three C's for social media for professional learning. You know, really just if I could give you any like pro tips, be open and willing to just connect with others. Quickly you can read someone's profile and, you know, maybe learn about some projects they're involved in, what schools they work at, what things they're interested in. It's easy to collaborate with others, because often people will share about some information they're looking for or a wonderful project they're involved in, and it's a great way to have conversations and build those relationships. So like typical things that I know I'll do in any given day is to share resources, connect to other educators, and just connect to new ideas. I'm one who loves to learn new things, so I find that reaching out to my professional learning network is really one way to continually learn new things, but not just learn them myself, but to talk to others about what those things are like. How are they using them? How are they applying them in the classroom, in their professional life? And I think that's where the social piece of the professional learning network really comes in handy, because it's person to person. You're building the community and the relationships at the same time that you're growing in a professional way.
And I have to say amen to everything you just said, Nancy.
Well, we tend to think a little bit alike, Barb and I. We find that, you know, we do tend to think a lot alike in many ways, right, Barb?
Yes.
And, so it's a very, very good thing. So one of the things that happened back a few years after I got on Twitter, one day Barb tweeted out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in starting a Twitter chat about Catholic education?" And I said, "I absolutely, positively would." And she said, "How about Saturday morning at 9?" I think this was like a Thursday. And I said, "Yes, okay." So it was Nick Sanger and myself and Barb, and we got on there on Saturday and reached out to a few other people that we knew, and there were a number of people at the diocese at the time that are still active on Twitter, Jim Meredith, and you know, I'm sure Bill was active at the time too, and you know, people started to come to chat. So ever since then, it was November 2012, so it's 4 years.
Yeah.
This month. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this weekend.
Oh, we forgot to
Oh my
celebrate.
gosh.
We have to
Wow.
celebrate. Okay, so anyway, for 4 years, every single Saturday, we have a chat on Saturday morning. And if you're not familiar with Twitter chats, really, it's a fabulous, fabulous way to connect with other people because you can attend a chat on a specific topic, and I'll show you a little bit about how to do that later. But with Catholic Ed Chat, we have a different topic every week. Last week we talked about what it means to be a connected educator. We thought it would be a great discussion to have before we did the webinar. But as you can see there, some of the people that attend on a regular basis were there to share. And they said, we use social media to connect and share with other ideas and, why they love it and what they get out of it. And the people that attend Catholic Ed Chat, they're just, a wonderful group of people. They always come willing to share ideas, lend support. If you say to someone, hey, I'm starting a new project and I would love to have another school join us or give us some input, people are always happy to do that. So it's been a great community. So if you ever want to come, it's obviously free and open to the public. You just go at 9 o'clock in the morning and follow the hashtag Catholic Ed Chat, and you'll see that conversation happening.
And this Saturday, okay, I was just going to say this Saturday our topic is in exceptional learners.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add in, out of all the ed chats online and Twitter chats that I've ever participated in, Catholic Ed Chat is the most welcoming, the most supportive. Everyone is so nice. There's no, kind of animosity between anybody whatsoever. Everybody comes so willing and helpful. So if you haven't participated in an ed chat before or a Twitter chat before, definitely consider joining at 9 a.m. on a Saturday for Catholic Ed Chat, because it's a great way and a supportive way to get your feet wet, because it's really one of the first that I enjoyed doing. So for someone who was new to Twitter chats, I just wanted to say that it's a great place to start and it's a great group of people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I don't want to talk too long here. I want to pass you on to Barb in a couple minutes. But some of the people we've been able to meet, one is Ken Willers. You can follow Ken. He is a Catholic school principal out in California. I actually went and visited his school one time when I was in California for another conference. We've connected with some of the people that we've met on Catholic Ed Chat. So actually, Barb and I presented together for the first time and had never met face to face. We had been online, doing chat for a year and a half, and decided to put in a presentation topic, and didn't meet until the first for face to face until the day before we presented. So this is some of the Catholic Ed Chat people that we got to meet up with online, but then we met face-to-face at NCEA. And just last year in San Diego, or this year rather, in San Diego at NCEA, we presented together on PLNs. So that's Ken, Barb, myself, Marcy, and Heber, and Abby Greer. Abby is from Washington, D.C. She's a principal, and Marcy is a professional development specialist and a Google specialist. So we just got to share how we've grown professionally through knowing each other and the use of social networks. So it's been terrific knowing them. Just a little bit about the social media and the digital content for Pope Francis, and the way it ties to the professional learning network is this. I was able to invite a lot of people from Catholic Ed Chat to come to some of the Twitter chats that we had getting ready for the visit of Pope Francis, and they would come in and comment and share things and help share their anticipation and excitement for the visit of Pope Francis. And also I had some of the Catholic Ed Chat people act as virtual volunteers for social media. So Barb and Kay actually helped to run our Instagram account during the visit of Pope Francis and the World Meeting of Families. They were online sharing pictures and communicating back and forth with us, even though Barb was in Nebraska and Kay was in Virginia. And one Catholic Ed chat person actually came out from Indiana, J.D. Ferries. So
Well, and my favorite part of doing the Instagram, Nancy, was when I posted the picture of this one woman visiting the Liberty Bell. Her and her sister were visiting the Liberty Bell, and I got a comment 1 minute later. Oh my gosh, that's my mom! And yes,
yes, and I mean, all of us know, like from the Philadelphia area, it was just such a warm and exciting time. But it wasn't just in Philadelphia, and that was the power of the web and social media and the connections, because people all over the world could see those things, and it was really unique to be able to share it professionally with the people in my professional learning network, and have them contribute, because they made it even a nicer experience. Here are my top tools. I'm just going to show you 2 quick tools before I hand it over to Barb. These are my favorites. I use TweetDeck, Hootsuite, Twitter. All of those on the left are Twitter-related tools. Some other ones I love are Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a really nice Pinterest page. Barb populates it all the time if you want to go check that out. How do you join a chat? It's so super simple. There's a website where you can go and see what Twitter chats are happening. And as you can see, tonight at 7, there's a chat going on right now, AP language chat. There's a list of all the chats that are happening. Well, okay, so you see that list. How do you join that chat? Right underneath, you see that image number 2. You can just do a search on Twitter and put in the hashtag for that chat, and right below that, all of the tweets will show up. And if you really decide you love that and you want to go to that chat more often, you can use a tool called Tweetdeck, and you can create a column in Tweetdeck for all of those tweets, so that you can regularly visit that chat and regularly connect with the people who use that hashtag. So it doesn't even have to be 7 o'clock on a Tuesday when you talk to them. You can see what they're tweeting and what they're learning and sharing even during the week. So thank you very much. It's been wonderful to share with you. I don't want to take another second away from Barb.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, Nancy, you're going to flip my slides, correct?
Okay, sure.
All right. So we will start with Pope St. John Paul the Great. And one of his favorite lines is "Be not afraid." So I encourage you all to jump in and be not afraid in this new world of building a personal learning network. And so here I was, my aha moment, Nancy. On the left, you can see me as Jennifer Aniston at the beginning of the school day. And on the right, here I am at the end of the school day. And I realized I needed to reach out to other educators for support. It was just something that was needed as I was spending the day with my 32 third graders. And I needed some new ideas, some support, and then it led me to be a cover girl. That was years later, right? But how I found my tribe, this is a great slide. When I knew I found my tribe, I was inspired and energized. And so when I get together with my Catholic Ed Chat friends, I am really energized. And the teaching and getting new ideas has been a very good experience. Getting that with all my friends. Every time after a Catholic Ed Chat, I am very energized. So when I first started, I have my friend Debbie in California. She sent me a tweet and said to take advantage of all the collaboration that's available on Twitter and to remember to always have fun. And some more wisdom from my personal learning network. Whoops, there you go. This is Jim Beagley, who is Pennsylvania person, and he always encouraged me to try new things, and he has done that. When I first started Twitter, I did my own account, but then I realized that developing relationships with um, the developing relationships with my fellow teachers, I found a value in developing relationships with my parents and other Catholic classrooms. So I started my own Twitter account for our classroom, and I take pictures and share that out with our families. And then I took advantage of some of my Catholic Ed Chat friends, and we set up some Skypes, and my children were able to Skype with Italy, Belgium, Czech Republic, even Nicaragua. And we also were able to Skype with an astronaut, and we did that last year in May, and that was a really good experience and something I never would have thought of doing if I wasn't on a Twitter chat and heard about doing something like this. And another activity that I do with my students that I don't think of, I would have heard of after, if not being on Twitter, was doing a mystery Skype. And here we did a mystery Skype, which is an activity great for my little third graders, where they ask yes or no questions to find out a location of another school. And here is St. Louis School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then here, the next slide, the classroom in Kentucky. We did another mystery Skype. And next week is Vocation Awareness Week, and here's my friend, soon-to-be Father Andrew Boyd. He is in the seminary in St. Vincent's in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and for the Scranton Diocese, and we had a Skype visit with him, and that was a really great experience. How do I get my ideas once I have developed my Twitter friends? I love to get together with them, and here are some of my local Twitter friends, and we had an Ed Camp that we got together at, and that is also another energizing way. You get to meet your Twitter friends in real life, and we had a great time. This was a picture at Ed Camp Omaha, and I also started with a team of 4 other teachers, the Nebraska Catholic Ed Camp, and our third one will be in this coming June, and that has been a great experience to learn new ideas. Then I have some tools that I like to use when I'm on a chat. Actually, I use all 3 tools because I have my iPad, my cell phone, and my laptop ready to go to follow along on the chats. Whoops, Nancy, are we frozen? There we go. I'm up to, there you go. I use Participate Learning, and that is a great website, and they hold all your tweets and all the resources that people share. So if there's a great article, you can go back and see it because they archive everything on their site. I also like to use Tweet Chat, and I just type in the hashtag when I go to that website. And what's nice about that is when the person gives out the question is highlighted. So if the chat is going really quickly, you could easily see, oh, here was question number 2. So that's a really helpful site. I also like to use Tweetdeck like Nancy, and I set up my columns that show which hashtag I'm following. Twitter can be very overwhelming, but if you have hashtags, it's easier to search and find tweets. So I like that. So finally, St. Isidore Seville, who is the patron saint of technology. Always keep this buddy in mind when you're on the internet and learning with your fellow Catholic school teachers. And finally, I just encourage you to just do it. And I have a blog post here. And I understand this presentation will be shared on YouTube with all the participants, but my blog is barbaranebraska.com, and I wrote a reflection on my experience going through tech, and it really goes all the way back to the beginning, back in 2007, and how I started. And it took many, many years, but And finally, this is a great slide, Sylvia Duckworth, 10 reasons why every teacher needs a PLN. And I just encourage you to join Twitter, build a PLN either in person. Teaching is a difficult job on some days and joyful job on other days. So please share with your friends and the people in your personal learning networks during the difficult days and the joyful days, and we can all become better teachers because of that. That is my presentation.
Thank you guys so much. We're gonna our second half of our webinar here tonight is really going to be driven by your questions. So feel free to put those questions into the window for Aaron and I to share. I know that there was already a comment in there also loving the Saturday morning Catholic Ed chat. So that's shared by many folks there. I'll get you started, ladies. I'll pose one that came in upon our registration as a first one. How would you convince a colleague who was hesitant? Maybe the teachers, I know a lot of the teachers, I'm looking at the names here, are ones who are involved but might have some hesitant colleagues. What's the thing you would say to a hesitant colleague to help them see the value or get going?
Well, for me, I just say jump right in and take a friend with you and practice tweeting back and forth and encourage each other. Nancy, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, Alyssa, I love to connect people with one another. So I love to give people a list and say, this is a list of people you can follow. Or, I say, follow Barb and these 10 other people because I think they're people that you can really connect with. And we do have some Twitter lists that Barb has a list of Catholic school teachers that's almost 1,000 people. So those kinds of lists, just connecting people to resources, whether it's a chat to go to or people to get started with following, I think is really helpful. And a third thing I would say is to connect people along the lines of their interest. So if they're AP language teacher, turn them to AP language chat. If they're maybe an English teacher or history teacher, get them connected to people that are talking about that because it's just really very interesting to do that because just by connecting to other people, you're growing your own professional learning network, but you're also connecting to the insights of other people, which will help you.
Yeah, and that's true, Nancy. If I don't know the answer to a Google question, I know which teacher I can ask. And I know that if I add the Catholic Ed Chat hashtag, somebody else may be able to answer that. So there's wisdom in all our friends.
Yes, definitely. And obviously we're not all connected at every minute to Twitter. I mean, there's times people will tweet to me. I maybe don't see it for, an hour or so. We're all like that. We're all really busy. But if you put things out there, sometimes there's always somebody that's willing to help out or help you find an idea or connect to some great information.
Mm-hmm.
Although Barb, if you send something to Barb, she does see it right away.
Well, if you have if you have your iPad, you could put notifications on there so you see it right away. So
you can, yes. So no, it's that would be my advice.
Awesome. Aaron, do you have anything coming into the chat window there that you'd like to ask for folks?
We do. We have two questions right now. The first question from Kay. How do you convince parents that having a class Twitter is worthwhile?
Oh, I have gotten such great feedback. At first I was very protective of faces because I know that was something that I wanted to make sure I didn't show direct faces and but then after a while parents were like, oh, they enjoyed it. I think what they really enjoyed too is knowing exactly what was going on today, and they can, when they got home, they looked at the Twitter account and they say, oh, I saw that you did something in art class today. Can you tell me what you learned? And so for that, just right there, it opens up a line of communication with the parent and the child knowing what happened. Also, I have been able to expand their experiences because I follow other Catholic classrooms, and so they share with me what they're doing, and so I share that with when I tweet that out. And we're friends with our local weatherman, and so if we have a question to him, he answers right back. It's been a really, really fun experience. I really enjoy having my own Twitter account.
The other question that we have asked, what has worked best for you within a school to increase participation? I'm not sure whether this is participation from the students' end, teachers' end, or from outside the end, but I guess if you could pick one of those, how would you, the teacher's end, it was confirmed, how do you increase teachers' participation within a school?
You know, this question came up. Today, our lives are lived so much on social media, and for our school, we have really great enrollment. We have 515 kids, but we're always thinking how we can include other children. And parents nowadays, they'll look on Twitter and they'll look on Facebook, and that's how they make it their initial impression. And I know it. I had a couple teachers in our building. They said, "Well, I just feel like we're bragging, you know, what we're doing." And I said, "Well, no. Well, we're sharing the good news and letting people know what we're all about and what we're doing, and we're given a positive public relation image of our school." So it's just kind of a mind shift for teachers, and then you just start thinking like, "Oh, cool! Look at this." Well, and just today we had art, and I took a picture of the art lesson, and it just shared that out, and it wasn't like a braggy thing. It was just like, this is what we're doing, but it's a really cool lesson. So it's just kind of a mind shift to do, and it's so worth it, and it's so helpful for other teachers to see what other schools and other classrooms are doing. It really enriches all of us and builds all of our Catholic schools.
Yes, I would agree with that totally, Barb. And what Barb mentioned too about, you know, the parents looking and seeing, and maybe other schools looking to see what your school's posting. If there's some kind of consistency where the school always shares ideas and things out on social media, things that are happening in the school, if that's done on a regular basis, people come to rely on that and take pride in it and really know that those kinds of things will be shared. It builds a consistency, and I think that that is very helpful to teachers. If they know that things will always be shared, it gives them maybe confidence to try and share some of the projects that they're doing, try to reach out to some other teachers. And really, if it's a school, you know, where maybe one or two teachers' things get shared all the time, try and share some of the other projects that are happening in other classrooms, because they really are. You know, there's plenty of things happening everywhere, great things happening. And, you know, everybody's on a different continuum in terms of what they're willing to try and what they're comfortable doing. So I think the more people can be encouraged to these kinds of networks to share what they're doing, I think it's really, really great.
And that's so true too, Nancy, where I walk down the hall and I take pictures of artwork. And that's a quick post that you can have and to show what the kids are sharing. And, you know, it's positive and it's what's happening. It's a really fast way to share what you're doing at your school.
But definitely. And I would encourage you to, I mean, reach out to the diocese, you know, tag Archphilly or you know, AOP Tech, tell them what you're doing, you know, because it's great to make those connections as well, you know, schools across the diocese, to make connections with other schools.
Yes.
I work with one of our schools, St. James, and you know, we regularly connect with with other schools in our area, and they will share our post. They're excited that, we had a good project, or, are celebrating something, and it's not even their school.
That
So, I
that's
think,
that's a really good point. And I think sharing, retweeting, it's so easy to do. And I would encourage your diocese to do that. Someone who does a really good job of that is Kathy Mears in Boston. And people will use that hashtag and she shares it. And from what I see, it's like, oh my gosh, Boston is doing great things. And that's a great way to do that, just retweeting all
mhm,
the tweets.
mhm.
I
Julie,
have
you created. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
I have one comment and then a question as well. One of our viewers has mentioned the fact that this also helps build the reputation of your school in terms of, I think, adding enrollment possibly as well. When parents see, you know, teachers who are active and the good things that are happening in their classroom, this
Yep,
builds kind of that social capital.
yep.
Yeah.
Um, my question is for someone new to the kind of the Twitter chat community, what are some of the ground rules that they should be aware of, and kind of walk us through? There's like the A1, Q2. How do you manage that?
Well, on Thursday, I usually put out an audio message. I use Audio Boom, and I tweet it out, which will have the topic. And then on Friday night, Nancy or I take Canva, um, an application where we type in the questions and put it in the post, and so people know what the questions are. So then, Nancy, how does an actual chat run? Do you want to take over for there?
Yeah, so typically we will, as Barb said, we share the topic in advance, we share the question in advance, and I think most chats work that way. They'll tell you in advance what the questions are, so they're posted somewhere. But then when the chat starts, someone will put, who's ever putting the question out will say Q1, and there's the question, and people just respond to that. And typically you can say A1 in front of your answer. So A1 is I'm answering question one. And you have to include the hashtag in your answer, or it doesn't show up in the chat stream. So that's why it's good to use something that will automatically include the hashtag, like Twubs or Tweet Chat or Participate Learn, because that way you don't have to remember to do that. But basically, just question and answer. You can answer the question, but say in that, while that's happening, you might start a conversation with somebody else that's in that chat. They might say, "Hey, we're reading a certain book in our ninth grade class," and you might say, "Oh, that's wonderful. That sounds like a book that we might enjoy." So there are sometimes these little side conversations going on, but that's okay, because everyone's there to support each other and to grow. So those are some of the guidelines to kind of go along with the questions, and just be positive and share what you know.
That's
And it's
wonderful.
okay to just read. It's okay to, I mean, sometimes people will say, "Oh, I go to your chat." I've had people say to me, "I go to your chat every Saturday, but I never say any, I never participate, I never talk." I said, "Well, that's great. I mean, you're certainly welcome to do that, because everybody's in a different place. Um, so it's okay to do that, but if you, when you're ready, you can join in as well."
That's awesome. I got a question via Twitter here that I want to make sure that I ask. So a few of our teachers in the Archdiocese used to use Facebook as a means to meet the kids where they were. They had like a Facebook profile that was for professional purposes. Now a lot of people utilize Twitter in that way. What do you see as the future of that? What's the hot social media piece that everybody's might shift to, or do you see trends happening? What the future of our PLNs might look like?
Oh boy. Well, I know Vine is not it anymore because Vine is done. So don't use that one.
Right,
Um,
don't start a Vine practice. Um, yeah, interesting. It's interesting. I've read articles that say Twitter is not being used by many people anymore. I read those articles, but if you're an educator, there are plenty of educators very, very active on Twitter. So
Yeah.
I think Twitter's going to
Yeah.
be around for a while.
It, it's kind of hard, and that's where I like to be in different platforms because, and I know Nancy, you're the same. We're on Instagram, we're on Pinterest, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We have a Voxer chat, which is a voice chat, and which is great because if I had a question, we're doing some new data program at our archdiocese, and they're trying to get feedback which data form to switch to. I didn't know anything about any of these companies, and so I instead of sending a tweet because it's 140 characters, can't get that all that information in there. I went to our Voxer chat and I got 4 people who responded back to me and gave me a lot more information and about this new data system.
Awesome. And our last question before we wrap it up this evening then is, what would you say as folks who believe in utilizing the power of personal and uh, professional learning network, uh, what would you say to administrators or principals or leadership, how they could be more supportive or encouraging to their staffs to get involved?
Oh, I can tell you, every morning I know what time my principal wakes up because I see her favorite my tweets. She's not necessarily retweeting, but she's favoriting, so she knows exactly what's going on in my classroom and knows what's going on, what articles I retweet. And that was a little boost. I was like, yay, my principal, even though she doesn't have a chance to stop into my classroom every day. I know every day she is virtually stopping in, so that's been a positive experience with my principal.
That's a really
Yeah,
great way that any administrator could to make sure that they follow and promote that. That's a great tip. Nancy, I'm sorry.
no, I totally agree with that. I think that's awesome. And Barb, Barb, I could see why your principal would be just so excited about all the things you do. And it's just, I think that there are ways that people do it. I know there's sometimes challenges or there might be fears in terms of having people using the technology and especially social media in public ways, but there really are a lot of ways to do it professionally, if and really a focus on good digital citizenship and positive uses and always being positive and sharing good things. There's certainly many examples of people doing that each and every day and growing professionally at the same time.
Wonderful. Well, I want to extend a very special thank you to Barb and Nancy for joining us here tonight. I'm going to switch the presenter back to me for just a moment, hoping that you will see my screen in just a moment here. Because I do want to take a quick second to let you know, as we're talking about PLNs, ways that AOP Tech you can connect with us or utilize us to connect with other teachers within the archdiocese. We spoke about that tonight. We're a huge archdiocese. We can really share and promote the good news within each other as well. So if you don't know, we're on Twitter at AOP Tech and the hashtag AOP Tech, which some people have been using tonight. Thank you so much. We're also on Facebook. YouTube is where we host our archives of these videos as well as tutorials for all things Google Apps for Ed or G Suite, as we've now shifted a name towards iPad apps and whatnot. If there's a video you'd like to see or would like to produce a video for us, you can always reach out to Aaron and I. Pinterest and Instagram. And we have our Remind group as well if you'd like that firsthand notification of all things AOP Tech. You can join our Remind group. Again, class code AOP Tech there. So it's a great way that if you are also new besides Catholic Ed Chat, which I hope you join on Saturday mornings, even if you're just a little bit of a lurker watching for a while, as Nancy mentioned, some folks are using that to kind of get your feet wet. Know that we're happy to help you get your feet wet as well and be that resource for you to connect you with other teachers across the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. So again, I want to say thank you to Barb and Nancy. Thank you to Aaron for manning our question window there. And we hope to see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron and Alyssa. Thanks for letting us share.
It was a great time. Thank you, guys.